All right, for the 8th page, we have a particle moves along the x-axis so that its velocity at any given time is given by this quadratic function. Find the displacement, the change in position, of the particle from 0 to 4. And then we're going to find the total distance covered from 0 to 4. So total distance is where we're thinking about absolute value. Displacement is just net change. So for part A, net change is the integral from 0 to 4 of 6t squared minus 18t plus 12 dt. And I could factor a 6 out. I don't know if that will make things better or not, because I'm just looking at this and like when I do t cubed over 3, that's going to cancel out with the 6. So I think I'm going to leave this in here. All right, so 6t to the third over 3 is going to become t to the third. 6 over 3 is 2. Oops. So 2t to the third. And then 18t squared over 2 is going to be minus 9t squared. And 12 will become plus 12t. And we're going from 0 to 4. So this is 2 times 64 minus 9 times 16 plus 12 times 4 minus plugging 0 in would just get you 0. That's 128 minus, 144 plus 48. 128 minus 144, so that's negative. And then let's see, what's 44 minus 28? That's 16, right? It's negative 16 plus 48, and that's equal to 32. All right, so net change, 32. And I don't see any labels here. And then part B, because we're doing 0 to 4, because we really want the absolute value of 6t squared minus 18t plus 12, if this is a calculator problem, I just put this in and I approximate the answer. If it's non-calculator, though, let's just assume it is so that we remember how to do that. We need to know, where is this velocity function going to be negative? So where is the negative area? So let's factor out a 6 as we try to solve for the zeros. So I factored out a 6. This factors into t minus 2, t minus 1. So the zeros are 1 and 2. We're on the interval 0 to 4. So 1, 2. And then this is a 6t squared graph. So the velocity graph is a parabola. So the area is positive between 0 and 1. It's negative between 1 and 2. And it's positive again between 2 to 4. So when we split this up, we're going to do the integral from 0 to 1 of v of t dt. I'm not going to write this out every single time. And then I need to subtract the integral from 1 to 2 of v of t dt, because remember, we're subtracting a negative area, so that's going to turn that positive. And then I want to add the integral from 2 to 4, v of t dt. All right, we already did the antiderivative, so now we just have to kind of carefully plug in all of these values. So 2t cubed minus 9t squared plus 12t. We're going from 0 to 1. So let's start there. I'm going to do this one piece at a time. So that's 2 minus 9 plus 12 minus 0. So that is negative 7 plus 12. So that's 5. And what about this part? Minus that same expression. This one is going from 1 to 2. So minus, and then what do we get when we do this? So we get 2 times 8 is 16, minus 9 times 4, minus 36, plus 12 times 2, minus, plug 1 in, 2 minus 9 plus 12. So what is that? This is 16 minus 36 is negative 20, plus 24 is 4. Minus 2 minus 7 is 2 minus 9 is negative 7, plus 12 is 5. So this is 4 minus 5, so minus negative 1. So 5 minus negative 1. And then plus, putting this antiderivative down here again, going 2 to 4. So plug 4 in first. 2 times, oh, we already did this, didn't we? We already did all of this fun work. That was 32. So we have 5 plus 1, right? Plus 32. No, so hold on. I have something is wrong here. Not 32. Oh, yeah. This was 32, but I have to subtract the 2. Sorry. Okay, so when I plugged 4 in, I got 32. And then I have to subtract. What do I get when I plug 2 in? So 2 times 8 is 16. We already did this math too, right? When I plugged 2 in, I got 4. Okay, so you can do the math all over again. I'm just trying to streamline a little bit, but I have to be careful doing that I don't make a mistake. So 5 plus 1 plus 32 minus 4 is 28. So 6 plus 28 is 34. So the net change is 32 units. The total distance is 34. So that just tells me this little middle section, it was a negative 2 that we or it was a negative 4 that we're accounting for that changes our net area. Okay, lots of calculation in that one. What about this one? The acceleration of an object moving on a line is given by this expression. So A is equal to sine t. When t equals 0, the object is at rest. So the velocity is 0 when t is 0. Find the distance, which we're calling s, that it travels from 0 to 5 pi over 6. So it doesn't say total distance, but distance instead of change in position. That is still thinking absolute value. All right, so in order to get a distance equation, we need a velocity equation. And in order to get our velocity equation, we need to integrate our acceleration. We're going to do an indefinite integral to begin with. So the integral of sine is negative cosine t plus c. And we were told that the object is at rest at 0 seconds. So velocity is 0 when I plug 0 in for time. Cosine of 0 is 1. This is negative cosine, so negative 1 plus c. So c equals 1. That means that I now know that the velocity formula is negative cosine t plus 1. So now I want to integrate, find the distance it travels. So I want to do what's the integral from 0 to 5 pi over 6 of the absolute value of negative cosine t plus 1 dt. And so if I'm doing this without a calculator, I need to figure out where is this graph, where would this be negative? So let's first set it equal to 0. So where is cosine of t equal to 1? That's at t equals 0. Now we're only on the interval 0 to 5 pi over 6. So I would normally say 0 and like 2 pi or whatever, but this is just going to be 0. And then we need to look at, let's see, 5 pi over 6. We need to look at for values between 0 and 5 pi over 6. Is this positive or negative? So let's plug in like pi over 2. That's in there somewhere. So negative cosine of pi over 2 plus 1. Cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So I get a positive for this entire section. So I actually don't need the absolute value because negative cosine t plus 1 is always greater than or equal to 0. So not needed here. That means we can just go ahead and find the antiderivative. So the integral of negative cosine is negative, is it negative? Yeah, it's negative sine t, and the integral of 1 would be plus t. And we're evaluating from 0 to 5 pi over 6. Plug 5 pi over 6 in first. So the negative sine of 5 pi over 6 plus 5 pi over 6 minus the sine of 0 plus 0. Sine of 5 pi over 6 is positive 1/2, but this has a negative in front, so negative 1/2 plus 5 pi over 6. And the sine of 0 is 0. I just like writing that in case, just to double check that my trig is not going to come out to a non-zero value. So this is our distance traveled.